The sky wasn't the limit, it was just the beginning. The airplane, a symbol of ascension, came true. The real-life sweet chariot for black pilots who had the guts to fly. These were the Tuskegee Airmen, America's first black military aviators.
Through 43 missions with the 15th Air Force.
Lieutenant Colonel Harry T. Stewart, among the 1,000 black pilots trained at the Tuskegee Airmen program in Alabama between 1941 and 1946. He joined the 332nd Fighter Group after gaining his wings at just 19, a childhood dream.
During the 1930s, that were real years for the beginning of aviation as we know it today. And I followed all of the pilots that were flying at the time and the different aircraft they had and that type of thing. And I vowed at a very early age that I'd try my best to become a pilot and maybe fly in the airlines when I had grown up.
Stewart was born in Newport News, Virginia on July 4th, 1924, before moving to Queens, New York at the age of 2. Shortly after, he developed an issue with his nervous system.
4 years old, that I started limping and got this bad fever, and my folks took me to the hospital, and I had polio. And the morning after the fever I was limping, and that I had a partial paralysis of the right calf for the rest of my life there, or all my years there. But I overcame it. And I remember 4 years old, I still can remember when they tried these crutches on me, and evidently when I got home, I just threw them down and started trying my best to do everything the way I was doing it before.
Stewart enlisted in the military at a time of deep racism and global conflict. World War II began in September 1939 when Nazi Germany invaded Poland. A draft ensued in the United States, but the Air Corps didn't take Negroes for pilot training.
Not too long after that, the Air Force, or the Air Corps, recanted and said, yes, we will go ahead and train Negro youth for aviation as pilots. However, it must be done under a segregated basis. And what we decided to do is build a Army airfield just for the segregated pilots. They're called Tuskegee Army Airfield.
Segregation, an unfamiliar territory for Stewart as he grew up in very much integrated Queens, New York. But all that changed when he reported for active duty in 1943.
We were all sitting together, and the train got to Washington, D.C., which happens to be the border of what's called the Mason-Dixon line. All of the southern states from there on had mandatory segregation laws there. So anyway, the conductor came up and he came to me and he said, you'll have to go up to the front car. So the fellows who were with me, my white friends who were with me, says, oh, Harry will go with you. And I said, no. The conductor said, no, that's a segregated car and it's only for colored people.
After gaining his wings, he went to Ramatelli, Italy, to help escort B-24 or B-17 bombers to their targets in Central Europe. His group, the 332nd Fighter Group, were called the Red Tails. Each aircraft painted distinct colors to tell who's friend or foe. Stewart flew the P-51 without assistance, just a manual in hand.
I had flown the P-40 Warhawk before that. I had flown the P-47 before that, but these were antiquated aircraft compared to the P-51. And it was like jumping from a Ford into a BMW or Cadillac or something like that,
Then came Easter Sunday, 1945. Stewart and several others were doing a fighter sweep while other bombers and fighter planes returned home. A fighter sweep looked for targets of opportunity.
We were patrolling up around the Danube River and around Linz, Austria, and we ran into a horde of enemy fighters there. And during the fighting that we had there, I did shoot down 2 of the enemy aircraft. However, just as I had shot those 2 down, another aircraft, enemy aircraft, got on my tail and was targeting me at the time there. I tried all sorts of evasive maneuvers to get away from this aircraft, and the aircraft was following me quite closely, and I was diving down close to the ground to elude the aircraft. And what had happened was evidently the aircraft that was trying to shoot me down went into a high-speed stall and lost control and ran into the ground.
World War II came to an end in September 1945. Shortly after the war, Stewart met the love of his life on leave to Harlem. According to his biography, Soaring to Glory, he married 20-year-old Delphine Friend, the sister of a squadron mate, on January 31st, 1947. They enjoyed 68 years together and had 1 daughter, Lori. And then this happened.
The Civil Rights Proposal I made to the 80th Congress, I now repeat to the 81st Congress. The strength of our nation must continue to be used in the interest of all our people rather than a privileged few.
President Harry Truman had asked the 80th and 81st Congress to pass all-encompassing civil rights legislation, but Congress failed to act. As a result, Black leaders urged President Truman to issue an executive order, which he did, signing Executive Order 9981 in July 1948. This order moved civil rights forward by desegregating the federal workforce in the military, an action that Tuskegee Airmen helped pave through their excellence in combat. Then, in 1949, the 332nd Fighter Group solidified their names in history during a Top Gun-like competition, a 10-day battle of the skies in Las Vegas, Nevada.
And the fact that we won the first Top Gun tournament there, I think proves that we were ready and certainly capable, and that we were equal to, if not better than, any of the other pilots there.
Stewart left active duty in 1950, but even with a Top Gun title and a stellar flying record, no commercial airlines like Pan American Airlines would hire him. Fast forward to 2015, Delta Airlines made Stewart an honorary captain 24 years after buying Pan American. Upon retiring as an engineer, Stewart's focus was to inspire young people to follow in their footsteps, a dream carried forward today by Dr. Brian Smith, the president and CEO of the Tuskegee Airmen National Museum.
So we are dedicated to continuing our education of young people, our training of young people to become airline pilots, air traffic controllers, aviation professionals, even scientists like I am.
19-year-old Angel Arouse is the fruition of the museum and Tuskegee Airmen's dream. He's set to gain his private pilot license soon before going to college to become a commercial pilot.
Actually flying, I'm actually doing this. I never really imagined myself flying until like senior year, and which is when I started flying as well. So I was like, geez, no way I'm actually doing this. It was like, I don't know, it just brought so much fun into me, you know? It was a crazy experience.
Stewart's legacy and triumph, a foundation today for youths who have the guts to fly.